Let's go.
It's your back, it dey keep passing. It dey bring out the best in me. I dey feel your recipe. Make you give me that recipe. Fine, fine. Yeah, you fine. You so divine. I dey feel you die.
What's up, people? We got a new episode of Awesome Entertainment. It's your boy Joel Awesome. All right, everything I always just posted a video said Marvel Studios Wolverine solo film announcement. Now this is something I'm interested in, so let's go.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to Everything Always. My name is Michael Remen, aka All Fires. Now, admittedly, my channel, but channels like mine, this whole corner of the fandom has been in one place for the last 2 weeks, and it's all of these leaked trailers, including this Avengers Doomsday rollout fiasco that, if you ask me, probably did exactly what Marvel was hoping for and generated a lot more buzz and discussion before the trailer even dropped than we maybe thought it would. Now, that being said, they obviously sandbagged these teasers just a little bit. I think everybody's okay with that, knowing that the real trailer is coming somewhere down the road. Don't make it to Avatar Fire and Ash, well, no love lost. But we have got to switch gears here for a second and talk about a major breaking revelation today. If true, apparently there will be another solo Wolverine movie in the future, as Marvel has gone and...
Look, in my opinion, this is how you need to start off the mutant saga, whatever. If you're going to start, you got to start it off with the main guy. I mean, Wolverine, I guess maybe not the main guy, but he's the main guy. Like, I mean, you think of Wolverine, you think of mutants, X-Men, you think of Wolverine. He's also an Avenger, which is, kind of neat. I don't care if you use Hugh Jackman, I don't care if you recast a solo Wolverine movie. Not a Wolverine and Deadpool. We don't need that, twice, or at least not right now. Go solo Wolverine. Go do it like, Logan. Make it R-rated. Make it cool. You know what I'm saying? Do that. I will say this about the old Wolverine movies. They were PG-13, but they did a good job displaying his powers. I think they did. At least the first movie did. But yeah, that's how you got to start off. Wolverine and Storm.
Specifically for...
Wolverine, Storm, and then you mash in the rest of the X-Men with the X-Men movie by bringing them in at the end of the movie.
Film and television distribution. We're going to read down the document where they found it. Talk about the context, because this has been the exact way we found out about brand new Marvel titles and franchises in the past. We'll then talk about the context of what this means for the upcoming saga and speculate just a little bit as to what story that could exactly be. We're breaking it all down. The brand new file trademark by Marvel Studios for a solo Wolverine movie. But first, if you could grab the subscribe button. Thanks to everyone who's been subbing lately and helped grow the channel.
Wolverine and Spider-Man.
Be a subscriber, leave a comment.
That's $2 billion right there.
Giveaways. Also, we're giving away $1,000 over on my music YouTube before the end of the year. You still have plenty of time to get in there, so there's a link down in the description and comments. Just click over there, make sure you're subbed to the channel, leave a comment on the video that you're coming over from my channel or Avengers Doomsday. Before the end of the year, we'll announce 10 $100 Visa gift card winners. Now let's go ahead and jump into this trademark. Okay, so this public filing for a trademark application for Wolverine was shared by a smaller scooper on Twitter and retweeted by trusted industry insider source Daniel RPK with the eyes emoji and the quote, interesting. And as you can clearly see,
this is my thing. They got these trademarks that come out, basically leaks about the, upcoming stuff. But there were a bunch of trademarks that were a few years ago. I remember when Captain America, I don't think it was Brave New World. I forgot what they were calling it. Like, New World Order. Which is, I guess that scares some people, whatever, but I like that one. Either way, there was a bunch of trademarks that came out. I could have sworn there was an Avengers Infinity War. I gotta look that back up, so I ain't bullshit. But
by this filing, it's intended for.
I'm pretty sure there was a third Avengers movie they ain't talking about.
It starts by saying Marvel Characters Incorporated.
Secret Wars, King Dynasty, and then Infinity War. Obviously,
number. The date was filed 12/12, which again isn't even a full week away, and then it has trademark application details. Mark for Wolverine trademark. Trademark registration is intended to cover the categories of distribution of motion picture films, distribution of television programs for others, production and distribution of television shows and movies, entertainment services, and the nature of production of motion pictures, television shows, and multimedia entertainment content. Entertainment services, namely an ongoing multimedia program featuring action, adventure, animated content, comedy, drama, live action, music, and news distributed via various platforms. You guys get the point. Of course, it's worded like this ridiculously redundantly in order to be a full registered trademark for everything in
That's so ridiculous. Like what he's talking about. I mean, I get what he's saying. It's redundant. It's repetitive. It's ridiculous that the law has to be interpreted to such levels. You know what I mean? Like if I put something out and they're like, "Oh, that wasn't animated. You didn't copyright the animated." It was like, bro, come on, get the fuck out of here.
Anything pertaining to multimedia under the title of Wolverine. Now, as I briefly mentioned during the prologue, this is not the first time that this has happened. Rewind the clock to 2022 and days before our first San Diego Hall H announcement, where there was heavy anticipation for the slate coming from Marvel as we were coming out of the pandemic and lots of years with no announcements from a studio that was forerunning themselves by a decade like they did in 2019. Turns out all of the trademarks for those titles they revealed came out in a publishing on Friday because these trademark filings are actually public. If you know where to look for them, there's actually not a way to keep them private. That's part of the trademark filing. And when it goes into that system or database, you're able to see them. So we saw King Dynasty, Avengers Secret Wars.
That's what I'm saying. We saw all this before. We saw this and then there was Infinity.
Captain America, Brave New World, as it was at the time. And yes, there were some titles included among them that never ended up getting released, like Shang-Chi 2 and The Wreckage of Time. Yep. But a lot of the titles did. In fact, a lot of them were announced just days later at San Diego Comic-Con Hall H. And so this has been a reliable way to see what's coming from Marvel. And speaking of which, we are getting into the timetable now where they are starting to set up the next phase and working on those projects in their earliest phases of development. Now, why this title specifically is so interesting is twofold. Number one, we already know that Ryan Reynolds has been working to a follow-up for Deadpool and Wolverine, or Deadpool 4 of sorts, that's said to cross him over with Wolverine, Storm, Cable, some other X-Men that we don't expect to be a part of the X-Men reboot, which is the second whole part of this. A majority of the X-Men, especially some of these Fox characters that we see coming up, trust me, we have so many videos we're backlogged on, and I'd love to talk about that. I do not want to go into a sort of divergent tangent here, but a lot of the X-Men will be recast for the new reboot after Avengers Secret Wars. Not sure how many of these Fox X-Men will...
I mean, we know the X-Men are going to get recast, but like, what X-Men are you going to bring? Are you going to go with the main group? Are you going to go with Iceman and Beast and Cyclops, or are you going to switch it up? You know what I mean? You go get deep into the bag and start pulling out, people we ain't really seen a lot. I'm sure that they had some spot.
But even the ones that show up in Secret Wars, a lot of them will not be the new X-Men in the reboot. That being said, a couple of the old X-Men are going to stick around, mainly Ryan Reynolds' Deadpool and Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, where it was confirmed by multiple sources and starting as early as last year that they want him to stick around for the mutant saga. And as we've talked about, his age is compared to some...
Look, I think the best thing you should do with Hugh Jackman, let him play Wolverine about 3 or 4 movies, but when you reboot it, do Dakin. Bring in someone, cast him as Dakin. Now you got X-23 running around with Homegirl, and then you got Dakin running around. That way, when Hugh's like, "Yo, I'm done, I'm out," you have a couple replacement Wolverines to pull you in until you really need to recast.
But these other actors, even though Deadpool's joking around about him doing it until he's 90, he's still 3 years behind Robert Downey Jr., which means he does stick around for another 5 after Secret Wars is done. He'll only be a little bit older than Robert Downey Jr. will be by the time Secret Wars is over. And that's what's so interesting about this film, because if Wolverine should get his own movie, by the way, quick side note, I know it says TV or film, I never ever would see them using the Wolverine title or Hugh Jackman on Disney Plus or for television. Man, I would be totally shocked if that came out. It would be wild, but they're not doing the big publishing stuff at Disney Plus anymore. Their mandate is not to take the huge characters and throw them on TV. It's almost assuredly for a film. And why this film in specific would be great in the context of what we know about the multiverse saga ending and the new saga beginning is that they could use this Wolverine film to basically reorient Hugh Jackman's Wolverine character and bring him into the fold in the X-Men. Let's face it, obviously the X-Men reboot is not going to be rated R, and if we want that Wolverine, it'll need to be a part of the rated side of what's going on with the X-Men. Not that they will.
Look, we need more rated R everything, really. We need more rated R Wolverine, Punisher and shit. But whenever you have characters that live in kind of a rated R, realm, and then they cross over, you need to have the other characters cross over into rated R movies, man. I want to see Spider-Man in the, you know what I mean? Like, it's just one fight, like a cameo. You know what I mean? Just fight some people with some blood and shit everywhere. You're like, oh my God, like, you know what I mean? That'd be awesome.
full crossover with PG-13 movies, say like Deadpool in Doomsday or Secret Wars. Still, for the Deadpool stuff, that's a very different style and genre than what the X-Men reboot will be doing. But they could use a Wolverine title to cross him from the Deadpool hijinks and affiliation back over to the X-Men team. That's
use
what that
as the one who saved the
focus on.
and bring out the
The
X-Men
thing
back.
he got to focus on is the number one title that's been mentioned in the last 2 or 3 years outside of another Deadpool and Wolverine movie, and that's in a Hulk versus Wolverine movie. Now, every single time that rumors come up between, say, when Deadpool and Wolverine came out, and now, I've said I've never thought that a Hulk versus Wolverine title would be enough to actually have Marvel Studios do a whole film based on just their rivalry, but the timing would always be a little weird. Yeah, World War Hulk is another film we've heard about.
Yeah, you moved out of the universe.
Recent reports that Marvel maybe doesn't have the rights to the Hulk.
The animated
as much as that was confirmed over the last 5 years.
And you have a Deadpool cameo.
But a Hulk versus Wolverine film, not something I think could carry an entire title, but the timing-wise, that should happen here very shortly. We're about to see the X-Men in the...
I think it could carry an entire title because half the movie is going to be about the Hulk, half the movie about the Wolverine, so you're really only making 2 half of movies anyway. You need them to fight 2 or 3 times without the movie, but when you bring in Omega Red like they had in the... You know what I'm saying? It's the best place to use. Like, when else are you going to use Omega Red? He's going to just be used as a side character. He'll never get to shine as a main villain, I don't think, unless... Well, I guess that's not true. That might not be true. But either way, I mean, that would be the situation I would put him in. Omega Red is the main villain in the Hulk versus Wolverine movie. If you've seen the animated movie.
The Avengers crossover and fight each other. By the time we get to a Wolverine solo title, probably already going to have seen Hugh Jackman's Wolverine and the Savage version of Mark Ruffalo's Hulk, which should be reverting in the upcoming Spider-Man No Way Home. We should have already seen that fight each other at some point while the X-Men and the Avengers are facing off in the next 2 Avengers movies. So not only do I not think it's enough for a title, I think that will have already happened. Not that they can't be in the same film, but Hulk vs. Wolverine, just not a solo title I'd expect to ever see, and I think it would be better served.
Texans get up high quality and down low.
I disagree. I definitely want to see Hulk vs. Wolverine as a movie.
Story to show how
Wolverine
goes from wherever
especially if Omega Red is
making of the multiverse back to be a helper for the current X-Men lineup in the MCU. And this is the kind of exciting announcement that I would expect because it shows that the Russos are actually doing what they are rumored to do, that someone is overlooking this slate from the top to make sure that it's all cohesive. So when the Russos return for Avengers 7 and 8, they're not in the mess that they are now having to...
But how crazy is that you need them to come in and tell you, hey, let's do a Wolverine film, right? Instead of, Thunderbolts or some shit that ain't making no money. Like, you shouldn't need someone to tell you that. You spend billions of dollars on a company to buy the IP, to buy all the shit, and then you don't even know what's hot. Wolverine, dog, like, it's common sense. Either way, a Wolverine movie to me would be great. A Wolverine versus Hulk movie would be awesome. Wolverine and Spider-Man. There's so many team ups that you could do. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you try to build up and set up the X-Men. Hey, man, the shit writes itself. The money prints itself, man. Either way, hit like, hit share, hit subscribe. I'm out.
Don't play with my patience. Man, they gone with the flow when they trying to fake it. That's not the way I roll, that's not the combination. You start off with the dough before you start the conversation. No one start the salutations, man, don't play with me. I'm coming from a place they would hate to be. I'm going through a phase you would hate to see. They say this life's a trip, ain't no telling where it's taking me. When you on the edge and you make your next move, better be your best. Before you throw it to the depths, better reinvest. Man, I count every moment and count every step, so I know I'm blessed. Now it's